Ignite your love today, a fun challenge for couples and singles. There are hacks for almost everything in today's world, but there's no shortcut for love. Having a deeper connection requires being present in your mind, heart, and body. It requires things like looking at your lover when they're talking rather than at your phone. If you want to deepen your relationship, build trust and security, keep the romance alive until you die, have more fun and joy in your life, support each other, and develop a strong bond, keep listening. Welcome to episode 118. I love that you clicked on this episode because that means you have a desire to ignite more love in your life. I believe that love is the greatest gift of all. And I know there's a saying also out there that love is the greatest curse of all. I get it. When the pendulum swings one way, it can also swing the other way. So something that is beautiful like love, when it's lost or when there's deception or when there's some kind of suffering and it goes the opposite way, it can feel devastating. I've experienced that pain. I've been there. So if that's you, I'm sending you a big virtual hug, and I'm glad you're here, and I hope that you get more and more encouraged as we go along. For those who may be finding this podcast for the first time, I'm Clarenda Price. I'm a certified life and weight loss coach, and I help women prioritize their health and well-being so that they have the energy to continue on serving and loving and fulfilling their mission and vision. As you know, we can't pour from an empty cup. We can't continue living and loving on others if we're not listening, if we're not paying attention to the symptoms that we're experiencing that are there to wake us up. We can lose all the weight that we want multiple times, but until we get the stress level down, until we get your cortisol level down, it will continue to come back on. Stress plays such a huge role in weight gain and in declining health. While there are surface ways to deal with stress, there are science-based strategies and tools that will make such a difference in your stress level and in the way that you manage it. I love seeing women that I help get their cortisol down, learn how to manage stress, and suddenly they're saying, oh my gosh, my belly bloat's gone. They go to the doctor, their blood sugars are lower, their blood pressure is lower, and they don't have that same brain fog, and suddenly they're sleeping better. So yes, in a simple sentence, I help women prioritize their physical, mental, and emotional health so that they can feel lighter in their mind, heart, and body. When I brainstorm for a podcast, I like to choose a topic and then let it marinate in my mind for a few days. I find inspiration for the topics from my personal experience, from my clients' struggles and wins, and even from social situations or the chats that come in, the messages that come in from you with questions. So when it came time for this topic, I was thinking about who had a great quality relationship that I can think back on, and it was my parents. How they worked, played, prayed, and had fun together, and just went through all the stages of life is inspiring. Right down till the day when Dad took his last breath, they were so close. If you've seen pictures or if you've seen them together, they were just always touching each other. They were always holding hands. And I'm so, so grateful for that beautiful example. And like any relationship, it wasn't perfect. But one of the prominent memories that really made me feel safe and secure as a child was after dinner, after supper, every night, they would go in on the couch and cuddle up, and we would hear them talking in there. Sometimes there would be laughter, and sometimes they would be talking about the problems they had that day. Other times you could hear Mom crying a little bit and Dad comforting her. And it just reassured us kids. We would be out cleaning up the dishes. That was our role, and putting things away. But just knowing that they were communicating, that they were exchanging. Sometimes there would be a light, I don't even know if you'd call it an argument, but some disagreements, but it was healthy. You could tell that they were trying to figure out if, yes, Dad was going to buy a four-wheeler or not. Those were some of the conversations that I look back on and I'm grateful for. Now, of course, there's always the flip side. Because I didn't see them fight, I only witnessed one fight, and Mom said they rarely fought, but they disagreed. She said, we just didn't let ourselves get to that. high emotion state. But because of that, the drawback of that is I can remember the first fight that we had in our first year of marriage, the very first week. And I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to be divorced because I wasn't exposed to it. I wasn't used to it. When I was also thinking about their relationship, I was thinking about their communication. While there was not cell phones back then, my dad loved the newspaper. So mom would be trying to tell him something and I'd hear a pause and he'd look up, he'd go, I'm listening. And she said, doesn't seem like you are. I'll just wait. When you're finished that section, let me know and I'll continue on. So dad, of course, loving her, wanting to please her, would just set the paper down, look at her with a smile and say, okay, go ahead. So even without all the self-help books and everything that we have now, they had learned that exchange of being able to communicate in a loving way and really listen to the other person and put their needs and prioritize them, as well as honoring themselves by being willing to say what mom said, no, I need your full attention. So if you're open and you think your partner might be open, remember, you never know if he is or she is until you ask. So don't hesitate to ask them. It's a perfect time. That's why I'm talking about this at the beginning of February, so you have time leading up to it. And as we dive into this Ignite Your Love challenge, you might decide that you want your husband, your partner, your lover to listen to this episode. I know that it's fun when I run into people. One person I can think of at Pita Pit, she was introducing me and then he's like, oh no, I already feel like I know you, Clarinda, because we listen to you as we drive in the vehicle. We listen to your podcast. So you can tell him that, yeah, there's men that listen to this as well. So you want to choose the right time to present this, to be able to have that time to relax and have fun with the challenge. Be willing to go first and maybe be a little more vulnerable and open than you have in the past. Lead by example. That deeper connection can lead to a deeper intimacy and a higher quality relationship. So be intentional and thoughtful in setting the scene. And of course, turning your devices off, that's a must. Use these 6 steps as your guide, but feel free to add on another one as long as you both agree. So first, identify 2 things that you love to do together. Think about, and you can discuss this, how often you've done this in the past 6 months. Ask, if we did this more often, would it help our relationship? And that might seem obvious, but still ask, in what way? Be specific and give examples. Then look at your calendars and book it in. Book it in. That's your love time. Guard that sacred time. Follow through and be present so that you can maximize the experience. If you want a copy of this 1-page love challenge, you can click the link in the episode. I'll make sure I add it there so that you can get it easily. And for my single listeners, I haven't forgotten about you. I know that February, the love month, can evoke mixed emotions. It's paramount. It's so important for you to prioritize self-love and find things that's going to fill you up, that's going to bring you happiness and joy. Treat yourself to things that you love, like a massage or a relaxing bath. And I know that might sound simple, but for some of you women, I know you're not taking the time to do that. So light a candle, put on some music, and just relax. Maybe you have other single friends and you want to go out together, or you don't mind going out with other couples in a group. Do what's going to make you feel good, what's going to nurture you, your heart and your soul. And if you spent last year's love month, February, alone, whether literally alone or whether you felt alone in a relationship, think about how you want this year to feel and then create that experience. Do what you can to create a different experience from the year before if you want to feel different. Maybe you're thinking, but I can't change anything. Maybe not in a big way, but there's always another and. So I might be in this situation and I can still do something that's going to fill me up, that's going to nurture me. You want to choose a good quality thought that's also true. You don't want to just jump to like dancing unicorns and everything's like hearts everywhere if that's not the possibility. But you can say, I'm going to take time to read the book tonight that I've been wanting to do. Or guess what? I'm alone. I can watch whatever movie I want. So while you might wish that you were in a relationship, you can still ask yourself, what would I love to do? And just like question number 2 for the couples, how often have I done that in the past 6 months? Question 3 is, if you did this more often, would you have more joy and satisfaction in your life? So think about it. Maybe you haven't booked a massage in years, and you're like, I don't know if I can afford that. I always like to think, well, if I had a man in my life, I'd be spending that amount probably on him. So book that massage if you can at all, or do something else that's going to make you smile. Just nurture yourself, girlfriend. You deserve it. And then continue on answering the other questions. Think about it. If you took care of yourself and was intentional in doing these things, do you think you would have a better experience in your life day to day? I believe you will. When your cup is full and you feel contented and happy alone, that's when you're going to attract in the right one. And it won't be done in a way that feels needy or graspy. You will feel complete. And having someone else come into your life is an added blessing. And let me be clear, don't confuse needy with having a natural, healthy desire to be in a relationship. Relationships are amazing, and they help us grow and thrive. This healthy kind of need, this desire for a healthy relationship, is only going to add to the life that you're enjoying right now. Creating an extraordinary relationship is totally possible, and it starts with you creating that extraordinary relationship with yourself. Remember, when we feel light in our hearts, minds, and bodies, that's what we're going to attract in. Who doesn't want meaningful connections? Like attracts like. So be first who you want to attract. Practice that. Live that. Visualize that. So to all the single ladies or the ones whose husbands just don't buy them flowers, I hope you buy such beautiful flowers. Buy what you want. You don't need to buy the cheap kind. You can buy the kind that really make you smile. That's the beauty of you choosing. And if you decide that you want to have some chocolate or wine, just make sure that you like your reasons now and like your reasons later, because we want to make sure whatever choices you make are still feeling kind and nurturing for yourself. If you happen to have another single friend, why not plan a night in or out? I know I did that with my friend Dom a few years back. We had so much fun. We had great, deep conversation and delicious foods. If I'm remembering right, we grilled steak, yams, and veggies, and then black bean brownies with a pecan sauce. It was delicious. And you know what? We probably will never have that opportunity again. So maximize whatever experience, whatever situation you're in this year. Just create love. Self-love and love for others. You can hold space for wanting more while still being appreciative of what you have right now. The grass isn't always greener on the other side, so be present, stay connected, communicate, and enjoy this month fully. If you're listening to this in February or March, make sure you let me know what you do. After doing those questions, answering them, then if you have an idea or something that you're like, this is what we decided to do, or this is what came up, I love to hear from my listeners. So don't hesitate to reach out or comment. I'll do a couple of social media posts about it, asking you a question, and I would just love to hear, because you might give me a great idea that I can implement and experience over the next month. So whether you're coupled up or you're flying solo, let's embrace the challenge of deepening our love and our connections and spreading love wherever we go. Anything that ignites love and keeps that spark alive is so worth doing, but it needs our time and attention. So I challenge you, and I'm stepping up to the challenge as well. If you can think of someone who would be interested in this episode, share it with them. Spread the love. I love you and I appreciate you, and I can't wait to see you next week.